Yo guys, what's going down? It's MC Noble here. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about getting into DJing. So a lot of people who don't DJ and have nothing to do with it or really know the bare minimal about it think that DJing is either one, really hard to get into, or either two, that DJs are just button pushers and it's just, you know, putting two tracks together and it's something like mega simple and something quite easy. Now, the first thing is, one, we're not just button pushers. Two, it's not as easy as you think it is, but at the same time, it's not as hard as you think it is. So if you are new to DJing, if you are getting into DJing, yes, you will probably find it quite hard to mix two songs together. You will find it very, very difficult to mix two songs together. But then once you actually pick up the basics of mixing two tracks together, you will find it piss easy and you will find it as easy as anything. So getting into DJing, how do you get into DJing and what is there to get into DJing? Well, DJing as a whole has actually evolved so well over the years, and you can you can get your hands on something and start DJing as easy as anything. For example, you can even DJ nowadays on a smartphone or a tablet, and you can use some apps and they will just allow you to mix music from your music library in your iPad, or you know, if you get sort of like free music off of the web, you know, free MP3s, and you fill an app full of playlists full of music, the chances are is you will be able to share them tracks over to your DJ app. Now, one of the best ones that I like to use is Algorithm's DJ Pro. Now, unfortunately, DJ Pro isn't actually an app anymore, and unfortunately it went into an all-in-one which is just called DJ, and essentially you pay a monthly subscription. But I wasn't really too keen on that when I actually originally paid £20 for this in, you know, a couple of years back when it was DJ Pro separately. And in all honesty, like, when I paid so much for it and I can do so many features on this, I didn't want to upgrade. However, if I did delete this app, I would no longer be able to get it back and I would have to move to the new one. But if you are looking at getting into something like this, you can use so many features of that app for free. You can give it a try. It's well worth a free download, and then if you do enjoy it, of course, you can move up to sort of something, you know, like paying for the premium version. And, you know, it's a big thing nowadays, mixing on our phones. You know, you've got a phone right in your pocket, you know, you're at a friend's house, stick a mix on, show off what you can do, Bob's your uncle. So, the next thing that you can actually move up to is something called a MIDI controller. Now, there is thousands and thousands upon thousands of MIDI controllers that you can buy. There's ones that range in low price, there's ones that move up to higher prices. Now, I paid about 75 quid for this one at the time, second hand in like a cash converters. This controller had its day, it did, you know, quite well. Now I obviously don't use it, it's not something that I use, but I have kind of kept on to it as it was something where I did, I guess in a way, kind of start out with the DJing like properly, officially, when I really wanted to get into it more seriously. And it's definitely a cool little controller, but like I say, you can just search them up on eBay and you can find absolutely thousands. Now, you will actually have to like have some form of software with your controller, and you will more than likely have to have a license. So you will have to use a license, which means paying for a license or paying monthly for some software to actually use, you know, to actually use this controller and stuff like that. But well worth it. It's quite a good way of learning to DJ, obviously. And then if you want to step up to the more pro, You can move on to something like CDJs. You can move on to something like vinyl, turntables. So what is the right way? You know, which one should you actually do? Which one should you actually do? Well, if you haven't got anything, if you haven't got the slightest clue about DJing, I would most certainly recommend downloading the app if you want to get into DJing. It's a good way of learning. And then I suppose in a way, where you go from there, you know, do you buy a controller? Do you buy CDJs? I mean, in all honesty, like, if you're gonna learn, in my opinion, you're gonna learn. Do you know what I mean? And personally, if I was gonna learn, I'd rather learn on the vinyl, if I'm gonna be truthful. Like, years ago, you would have been taught on vinyl. You wouldn't have been given an app to download. You wouldn't have been able to plug a controller into a laptop and have everything on the screen. You know, in my opinion, music is about the ear of the music, listening for your beats and, you know, listening to when they're in time and moving your pitch fader. So if I was really to give any form of valuable lesson, in my experience, get 2 records, mix them together. Have a practice, even if you just do the same 2 songs, right? Do the same 2 songs for a while. You know, go on a friend's record decks if they've got them, or get yourself a cheap pair, and you know, you can pick up vinyl records cheap enough. You know, it doesn't have to be top of the range, just to learn. And I would seriously recommend putting a record on, say, this side, and then putting one on at this side, and trying to mix them together, and keep trying. Start the records again, go through it again, start learning, start listening for the beats, the transitions of the track. That's how I would personally learn. But if you do want to get something like a controller to learn, you wouldn't technically be doing anything wrong. You wouldn't be cheating. You wouldn't be not learning properly. But because I do sort of, in a way, like the old school days better, and I do love my vinyl, you know, as we've been showing it on the channel, personally, I wish I had learned on vinyl, but sadly, I did learn through controllers. But then I guess I did properly learn through CDJs, which again isn't also a bad idea. If you have a friend who has a pair of CDJs and he lets you, you know, he lets you jump on. But you know, the world's your oyster. There's so many different equipment, so many different, you know, controllers and things you can plug in and things you can do to learn to DJ. So watch my video, watch other people's video, make a decision. You don't have to rush, but personally, I prefer learning the physical way, and you know, hands-on with a proper, you know, mixer, 2 records. I do prefer learning that way, and I do feel that I am learning even better since trying to mix the records together. Subscribe, comment, enjoy.